Here's a look you've seen on the runway and the red carpet. The long hair bob is what celebrities do when they don't want to cut off their hair, but they want to make it look like their hair is a lot shorter. So here's how you can do it. So stopping here, first things first, you want to pay attention to the fact that there's a lot of curl in the hair. Now you can do the same look without curl, but for me I like to see the chic and the elegance of that texture and that movement. I think it gives it a little more of an interesting look. So what we're going to do is you need to make sure of two types of ideas. The first is that the curl on the top is actually what you see in the hair. The curl underneath is really just about texture and about helping the pins stay secure when you wrap it under. And also the curl around the face is also very important. So what we're going to do is we're going to section it off from the top of the crown to behind the ear. And we're just going to deal with that front and the back in two separate ways. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Sectioning it off from the top of the crown to behind the ear, pulling the hair out of the way, and then clipping it so that it's manageable for me to deal with just the back. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take horizontal sections through the back, and we're just going to end up tucking it all underneath. And what you'll notice is I'm just going to use a very simple technique of grabbing the hair and just wrapping it around my fingers and then just pinning it in. Now the nice thing is with this look is that what you do underneath isn't so important because what you're going to see on top is going to cover it all up. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't spend too much time making it exactly the way that I did. And if you want to, you can even leave some of those ends out if you want it to be a little softer and kind of have a little fringe and softness around the neck. So again, here I am just taking it and then just horizontally sticking that pin in. And you want to make sure that you're using a grip, something that has a lot of hold to it. And if you want to make sure that you're going to keep it through the night, then you want to secure it with multiple pins. Like, don't just put one in and hope that it'll stay. I would put multiple pins in just to make sure that it is going to stay secure. So I'm just going to continue to working, wrapping it around my fingers, pinning it in, and depending on the shape, I like to tuck it in a little bit more because I know that it's going to have some width to it and some shape to it. If you wanted to, you can keep building them out. For this particular look, we don't want it to look too editorial. We're going to keep it a little more consumer friendly, a little more soft. So again, as I work through, you'll notice that I'm going to stop my sections as far as what's going to be seen right here. So that top section is what's going to come down. So let's pause for just a moment. And let's think about your hair. Now, if you have a lot of hair, you can work in this type of section and maybe just have that top bit is what's going to fall over top. If you have finer hair, you want to work a little bit lower, make sure that the curl in there still has some look to it, and you're not going to pin all of that down because you want more to cover up that back. So again, going through, pinning it, and I'm just going to secure that to that back. And again, I would just continue to put in pins just to make sure that it stays in place. And then the key is, what's most important is this top section because this is what the eye sees. The underneath is the shape, it's just the foundation, and then here I'm just going to pin it all together and then just tuck it under and pin it to those rolls that we've already created. But I also want to make sure, obviously, that the curl has remained intact. I don't want to pull it too tight. I still want there to be that movement on the eye. So on the sides, again, we're just going to take it over and we're going to pin it up through that back area, making sure that there's curl. Now let's stop again for a moment. Now what's key here is that you're not pulling it too tight because if you pull it too tight, then that curl is going to straighten out. So you want to make sure that there's still that movement, there's still that look of texture to it. Otherwise, then you should have just done it straight. So because we have that curl, we want to see that curl. And then what we're going to do is, just as a finisher, we're going to make sure that we pull some hair out if you want to make it a little softer and a little easier around the eye.